full house.
All right, great. If you want to start with the roll, Amelia, we'll get going.
Absolutely. You want to call it to order first?
Yep, I'd like to call this meeting of the Flagstaff City Coconino County Library Board to order at 1 o'clock sharp. Look at us.
So Frank?
Here.
Lisa? Here. Supervisor Begay? Councilmember Garcia?
I am present online. How's it going, guys?
Good. Pamela?
Here.
Shannon?
Here.
Catherine?
Here.
David?
Here.
Okay, we have a forum.
Do we have any public participation that anyone knows of?
No, I do not believe so.
Okay. I guess question for whoever, do we need to do these two sets of minutes separately, or can we do them as one action item?
Separately.
That's what I thought. Okay. So if we'd like to take a minute to review, and as soon as you're ready, I'll take a motion to approve the March 26th meeting minutes.
I move to accept the March 26th minutes.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Right.
All opposed, answer with the same sign. Okay, motion passes for the March 26th minutes. And then same thing with the April 30th minutes, if I could get a motion and someone's ready to make one for the April 30th minutes.
Very short minutes.
Yep.
I can do that. I'll second that.
And Shannon seconded in case you couldn't.
Okay. Took almost as long to do that as the actual meeting lasted.
Yeah.
Took me a minute.
So all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Okay, so that motion passes. So the April 30th minutes are passed as well. Any information, communication, or disclosures from anybody today? Hearing none, let's move on to our director's report.
Now, can you remind me, do I need to go over the ones from last
You
time?
go over whatever you want to share. Whatever you
All
want to
right,
highlight.
well, let me just highlight a couple things from, I think, the last April one. In April 2nd, of course, Linda retired. So we have some, I think I've gotten these mixed up here. We had some pictures, yeah, here they are. In the March one, we had a going away celebration, so we had some pictures in there, so if you haven't seen them, you can see that. We have a cake with she has a corgi, and a corgi reading a book by the peaks here,
Yeah.
so, yeah. And youth services did some crafting and things with recycled materials, so they made bird feeders with that. That was a really cool thing. They had a seed swap at East that brought in 148 people.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was a great thing. I'm going to talk about the dementia program that happened here in just a moment. But you could read those. The bookmobile has been out and about, and we're going to see that more from the May. But I'm going to kind of just skip through this because we've got a lot to go through, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. But I did want to highlight Linda's retirement party. And then I started my position officially on April 12th. So in terms of the windows, you can see for this month's report in May, the windows are almost completed. And they're looking just amazing.
Mhm.
They really pop. I didn't realize what a difference they would make. But it's nice having windows that you can see through clearly.
Yeah.
And that let in any water, that's always nice. So we're very, very appreciative, and the staff have just been awesome with all the, the changes and moving things around. They've just jumped in and helped with that, so they've all accommodated, and we're going to see a comment later on from somebody that accommodated, somebody that's in a program that was in a different place. And we've got a quote about that. We have Allison O'Meara is our new branch manager. And what date did she start? May 11th, that's what it was. And we have somebody, a new temp clerk in also in East. We're having some staff turnover there. We're fully staffed for the present. And then we also had Nathaniel Fortmeyer, Reference Services Supervisor, resigned. And the acting supervisor is now Emma Klinger. And as I moved up to director, Emily is now the acting deputy director. So she's had to switch hats, many hats over the last few months. And I just have to give kudos to her because, she's made it look easy, and it's not at all easy, so thank you to her. Another thing that has to do with staffing is we've updated the temp specialist, what we call temp specialist, because it was very hard to hire. A temp specialist is now library associate, and that's a person that comes in and they're always part-time. So the word temp is really something for the back office of HR. They're not temp they could be here years and years and years and years, but it's kind of how they're classified. So on the back end, it makes sense to people in HR. It didn't really make sense to people applying for the job since they thought it was temporary. But another thing is the job qualifications and what they do in that role is different from a library specialist. But it seemed like that they were more together, and the requirements were actually the same. So they needed 2 years of library work to originally to apply, which you can imagine how small the pool of applicants was at that point. So now that we've opened it up, we had like 80 plus applicants for a role that had the new title library associate. So now we have a lot higher a pool of qualified people to come in and get them into library services where they can gain that 2 years of experience for roles further up. So that's a really positive change.
Are they part-time or full-time?
Part-time,
That's what I thought, okay.
part-time unbenefited.
I know that from NAU because the part-time temps were also people who have been around for years and,
Yeah.
but there's 2020 rules and things like that. and
Yes.
The hours, and
Yeah, lots of roles.
Okay.
Lots of work on the
Yes.
place.
And
that for a long time.
And now the HR, we can put the job advertised, even on the back end, you may use the word temp to classify for themselves. We can put part-time in the front end to what the public sees, so that
Yes.
also helps with hiring. So it's really a good rule. Didn't affect their pay or anything, just is helpful for other things. And then I wanted to focus in the reference department, and Leslie was a big part of this. We have the Dementia Awareness Fair that took place, and it drew 60 attendees. And 60, to my way of thinking, is, and you've heard this, is a really big number. I had dementia programs in my last library, and they're very important, but they don't always draw very many people because of sometimes of the stigma, But this one drew 60, which is really a really high number. And they had a lot of things going on. They had an experiential part of it where people could experience what it was like to have dementia, as well as resources. And now she's been putting these kits together so that people can take them home and work with their loved ones to have discussions and help with memory. Really positive thing. We also had an alcohol awareness event that brought in 50 people, and a housing resource fair, for which we collaborated with the city on that. So lots of things. And then also reference, they just had a really busy one. They had brought Prescott Zoo in. And so they had animals, and because of the windows, we couldn't meet in that one public room, but it was better because they had, I think it was 80 people or something like that, over in this corner. And so they had tarantulas and snakes and all sorts of interesting fun things, yeah. So it was really a great event. As part of Art X, they also had a fiddle concert that brought a fiddler in, and they spoke in between about the history of the music, and then they played music. So it was educational as well as entertaining. So youth services, we had a staff event that was a circus theme, a staff appreciation during National Library Week, and they made all these carnival games for staff. Well, they left it up, and then the kids came in and got to have a carnival story time, so they really loved that. And prior to that, we couldn't get into the community room again for a while, so they had to have story time within the library. And actually, one family that attended wrote this: "I couldn't help but snap a few pictures. Everything was too sweet. Thank you for creating such a warm, welcoming, and beautiful space. It's clear how much you all pour into it. The kids love it, and it brings so much joy and connection for the mamas and caretakers who come along too." She just thought it was really kind of special being in that space there. It's a little bit different. They had a American Girl Tea Party, and it was one of the coolest days. But people came and bravely made little crowns for themselves and for the dolls. The kids made crowns for themselves and matching ones for the dolls, so they really enjoyed that, and you can see the pictures there. And then a cultural event that was showcased Chinese dragons and Kung Fu over at the East Library, and so that was well attended and a really neat cultural activity. And somebody wrote, "This is the best event I've ever seen at the library." So there was somebody that really appreciated that one. The county bookmobile has returned to Kachina Village, Munns Park, and Sunset Crater. They returned there in April for the first time since November. So that's great, and you can read about all the other places that they've been going. We make a huge impact, and I'll just read you really quickly a letter that expresses appreciation for their services. And I've mentioned this before, when we get these positive comments, you know that it is just one comment from one person, but you gotta think that there's probably 100 other people that are feeling that. We really don't know the tremendous impact that this brings in people's lives. So this work is really important, what you're doing here and how you're helping us guide this. She wrote, it was the Director of Student Affairs at BASIS, and she wrote, "I want to take a moment to share my sincere appreciation for the incredible experience you brought to our campus this year. The monthly visits to BASIS quickly became the talk of the school. Students and staff alike looked forward to them with so much excitement. There was something truly special about the atmosphere you created, even for the students who didn't check out a book. Simply being surrounded by books and stepping into that space felt magical. You helped cultivate a sense of curiosity, comfort, and joy around reading that is so meaningful for our learners. I'm especially grateful for all that Rebecca," that's the person who goes out on the bookmobile, "did to coordinate and make these visits possible. Her efforts make a lasting impact and did not go unnoticed. We absolutely love the county bookmobile and the joy of reading it brings to our school and community. Thank you for inspiring our students and helping foster a lifelong love of books." And Becca is the librarian on the bookmobile. She's just really passionate and very dedicated to her position and serving. So that's the main things that I want to report. I don't want to take the whole time, but just wanted to share those special things this month. Okay.
All right. Thank you. That was great. And thanks for sharing those comments. Those actually mean a lot. And next thing on the agenda is Amelia and Beyond Books.
Yes, so let me share my screen here. So this was one of the topics that we had picked for, where are you? Okay. So, okay. Beyond books, there's more to the library story. So 22% of our materials are not books. So of course, 78% are. This is a quick list, if you will, of everything that we offer, including games, culture passes, laptops, library of things, seeds, of course. She talked about the seed swap, a whole bunch of stuff. Some of it is in-house use only, like the bike locks. I mean, in-house use, you can take it out and use it to like lock up your bike, but you know, it doesn't really leave the library, same with the charging cords, but a lot of it does still leave the library. We have 47 different databases and resources, and actually this just went up to 40, well, it will be going up to 48. Jennifer sent me a new one that I figured out how to get us access to it, and I sent it to Dave to add to the website, so that will be going up soon. But here's just kind of a quick selection of them. We have Ancestry and Family Search. Staff was playing with that one a couple weeks ago and found out that several of us are like seventh cousins, 3 times removed. And, yeah, maybe far back enough, but still. Daily Sun, as well as World News, the Talking Book Library, which is something that the state of Arizona provides, A to Z World of Foods, which lets you pick any country and they'll bring you recipes, and then it has usually cultural information as well about the country. It's a lot of fun. Hobbies and Crafts, Novelist lets you find your next book. Pronunciator is the language one. Galen Context is a research database, and we have it both for elementary, high school, college age, any age. I actually literally used it this weekend to create a will because I realized my last will is probably 10 years old. So, but there's a car repair database. My son studied for his driving tests using one of our databases. And then we have historical Flagstaff records as well.
Question, are these databases available through the website when you're at home, or do you have to be here to use them?
Most of them are available at home. There are a few that are only accessible in-house. I don't know which ones those are, but most of them you can access outside of the library.
I think the Ancestry,
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Ancestry Library Edition has to be
In the building.
I think I use that at home,
Okay.
They
part of it at least.
they may, but they may have some that you can use at home, and during COVID, they did extend use to home for a couple of years, and then they withdrew that after a certain point. Unless they've opened it up again since I've last.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but the majority are.
Yeah.
It's really cool to be able to just do that from your house.
Other services, we have book clubs, of course, we have book club kits, books by mail, computer and job help, obviously the meeting room, all of our programs. I thought I had more on that slide, I don't, so okay, we'll keep going. Community outreach, which Leslie will be talking a lot more about this, but these are some of the places where we go. I'm not gonna spend a lot of time there because I don't want to steal her thunder. Actually, that was all I had. So that's the Beyond Books services. Just a quick little, thing. But any questions on that one?
And can I throw something on the end of that, which you kind of touched on, but is the staff. The staff do so much in interacting and helping with people and talking to people about so many different things. Some of it is finding information, some of it's helping them with technology, some of it's just being a listening ear for a minute, a community resource, directing them in the right direction. They do so much with the public, so our staff is a definite valuable, one of the most valuable resource, really.
Good deal. Thank you, Amelia. Any questions?
Oh, Frank, you froze. Is that on everyone else's end?
Oh, he's moving now.
I'm moving now.
Okay.
My internet does weird things in my office. It's just that way. Anyway, thanks for the presentation, Amelia. And then Leslie and Aaron, you have the outreach and marketing.
Emily, yeah.
Oh, Okay, sorry about that. It says Aaron on the agenda, sorry.
My apologies, I completely wrote that wrong.
Oh,
Sorry, Em.
Anyway, Leslie and Emily.
Hi, I'm Leslie. I'm the library specialist outreach. And my role is unique because I bring library resources to a lot of underserved populations and what's interesting is that a lot of people don't know about a lot of the library services we have that could benefit them. So that's why I go out into the public and also in-house. I do a lot of programming as well. So one of the things I do is go to the shelters once a month. I go to 2 different shelters. One, they're both women's shelters. Hope Cottage is, I go once a month in person and I talk to them about everything, about all the resources we have. What they find very invaluable is having the ability to reserve a meeting room. And that space, having that private space to, conduct, important phone calls or, meet with people virtually is very important because we also lend out laptops. And a lot of people don't know that. We have laptops that they can use and utilize that space to do a lot of important information and meet with people that they need to. I let them know that the library is a safe space and it's very important for them to know that and that they really enjoy learning about the different online resources the library generously subscribes to so that they can find legal documents. We have a legal forms database that is pretty relevant for a lot of different situations. And they like to learn about, we have over 300 different languages that they can learn from. So that's really fun. I also meet with Northland Family Help Center, which is a domestic violence shelter once a month. It's actually every other month virtually. And I also do the same type of presentation. I let them know what type of library services we have and resources that they can utilize as well.
So if I could
Oh,
ask
okay.
her anything.
So one of the things that Amelia touched upon with books by mail, that's one of our services that the outreach is dedicated to. So it's basically anybody who's homebound, who has a disability, as a visual disability or a physical disability, they're not able to go to the library. So we offer a free postal service where we mail. It's audio CDs and large print books and Braille books. We mail it to them for free. We partner with the Postal Service. We have a special bag that is blue and it has a stamped seal that's, is free that we can send out to these patrons. It's an application process. They have to fill it out and have a certification confirmed by a professional staff member, either hospital, health, or social service agency. If they don't have access to a medical provider, then we can also have a professional librarian approve it for the application process. So they can contact me. I'm in charge of that. I have had patrons who wanted to participate in books by mail, but I had to turn them away because they didn't have a disability to qualify them for that program. So that's pretty much books by mail. I also run the senior book club at the Josie Montoya Community and Senior Center once a month. They get to choose all the books, so that makes it a little more enjoyable for them because they get to read books that they selected. Right now, we're reading The Feather Detective, which is a nonfiction. It's a very interesting story about she studies birds, feathers.
Ornithologist.
Yes, second
My
person bird.
husband's one, so I know well.
So she's the only one in the country who could recognize feathers and know what kind of birds they belong to and can solve murders, why planes have crashes. And yeah, she was very, very interesting book. So that's what we're reading about. And the next book we're reading for June is The Collector of Bird Books.
Oops,
Sorry, yeah, I didn't see.
I didn't get my camera up in time, sorry. Can I take a quick picture? He would probably love to read that. Thank you.
So one of the other things that I enjoy doing is putting together programs for underserved populations, and one of them is people with dementia. So we had a dementia awareness fair back in April, and we partnered with a lot of different organizations. Northern Arizona Hospice came to set up special equipment so people will know what it's like to have dementia. Not anybody can put these equipment together. You have to be certified. It takes an hour to put together.
Wow.
And they were booked solid from 10 o'clock till 1 o'clock in the afternoon. We also had a person who was diagnosed with early stage dementia come and speak. She was originally scheduled to speak at the end, but she requested to speak at the beginning, so we honored that for her. We also had all the organizations, Dementia, Nazada came, Oakwood Creative Care, which is adult care center, and they finalized a contract with NAU, so they're housed at NAU right now for adult daycare. We had Alzheimer's Association from Phoenix come and partner with us as well, and I thought it was very beneficial for a lot of people. But also, I think the turnout is lower because sometimes people may feel uncomfortable to deal with that topic. I did try to recruit some people. We had a book sale, open book sale at the time, so there was a lot of people, traffic, and I did ask a lot of people to come in, and they said, I would like to, but we're not ready. That was a lot of the responses, so that's understandable. That's just one program.
Are you gonna repeat that?
I'm working on getting funding so that we can have a continual program for future events. That'd be very beneficial. For the fair, we also put together a memory kit. They were grouped into 3 categories. They were early stage, mid stage, and late stage dementia. The one unfortunate thing about having dementia is that there's no cure for it. It's a progressive illness, so it just continually advances. In the dementia kits, we have activities that help them remember a lot of items. I try to be as cost effective as possible, so I printed out a lot of pictures, and laminated them, and grouped them into themes like holidays, national parks, foods, holidays, stuff like that, so that they can sit with somebody. We had a lot of volunteers from the NAU nursing department, and they came and helped, and they were going to be the person that was going to sit in front of the person with dementia, and then they would help reminisce with them. So that's we also had like water art painting as part of the kits. You don't need to paint it, you just add water and it literally colors it for you. So it's user friendly. So this was a neat thing because I spoke with a lot of staff, and they said there were gaps in our library materials for people with dementia. So that was the purpose of memory kits. And I do have to acknowledge Prescott Valley Library, Michelle, because she's the one who created the memory kits for her library. And I use that as a model for memory kits here. And they are available in our library of things right now.
And you also created kids a set for bookmobile too, right?
Oh, correct, yes.
Yeah.
So in-house and also for bookmobile. So there's a total of 6 kits. We also had Alcohol Awareness Month events. I saw that there was a need for that, especially for the younger students, since we see a lot of incidents here at the library where a lot of patrons are inebriated. So I think it's important to start with the youth. We had a Coconino County partner with the library, and they put up a presentation for the parents, and at the same time we had the youth go to a separate room and do enriched activity that was centered on like alcohol awareness bingo or enrichment activity, culturally sensitive activities. I think it was like for 25 minutes. We came back together, and then they did relationship strengthening activity with the parents and the child. We also had a guest speaker. He was currently a high school student who successfully went through AA. So he was there to speak to and share his story as well. We also had Flagstaff AA and Al-Anon there present. Everybody came to all the tables except for those tables. So they had a very little traffic because it's very uncomfortable as well to, I guess, approach a table that, you know, asking for help is very hard. I did have a patron come to our table, and he did share that there is an AA book for the Native American population, and we didn't know that. So I did reach out to the author of the book, and he has offered to donate some of his workbooks for our programming later in the month for my entry.
That's awesome. That's very good.
That's good.
We also do tabling events outside of the library. So we load up our city vehicle with a tent, a table, a foldable table, and a couple chairs. And I normally table with the marketing librarian, Emily, who will speak soon. We hand out a lot of resources at these events. We just finished the veteran stand down at the Arizona Veterans Homes here in Flagstaff, and we had a lot of flyers, brochures, a lot of swag, which a lot of people love the pencil sharpeners pencils and the stress balls. They love those. And then we also try to encourage people to sign up for a library card. People were used to be able to sign up for a library card online or partially, but now it is now strictly in-house. So you have to come into the library to sign up for a card and have a library card issued to you. We'll have two tabling events coming up in June, Pride in the Pines and the Pollinator Week at the Arboretum.
And we can sign up people for library cards when we're tabling. And then we'll turn it over to Emily.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Emily Kane. I'm the Marketing and Public Relations Librarian for the library system. I have been in my role for a little over a year and some change now. It's been a lot of fun. So let's dive in and I'll tell you about what I do. First thing is I run our social media pages. The main pages that we find are the most visited are going to be Instagram and Facebook. Great ways to learn about what we've got going on program and event-wise at the library. Take a look at our usernames for both our Facebook and our Instagram. If you have one of those social media platforms, feel free to give us a follow. For Facebook, we do daily and weekly social media posts separated by age group with detailed program information. The daily story that you can click through on, and that's all the events and programs that are happening within the next 24 hours. And then all programming and events listed under the events so that you can learn more about the individual event, RSVP to it, find registration information, etc. With Instagram, there's a few differences, but we automatically post the same information that we have on Facebook to our Instagram. Meta is the owner of both platforms, so it's easy to do that at the same time. The biggest difference with Instagram is that there's no events portal like there is on Facebook, but it's the same information. We find that it's just another preferred social media platform for some of our patrons. The great thing about both platforms is that it provides the ability for patrons to like posts, share posts, comment, and direct message us to ask questions, make comments, ask for assistance, things like that. I'll briefly touch on our website because I really only do a couple of things on the whole website. I don't obviously do the whole thing by myself, but the first thing that I do for the website is I write kind of news articles. We call it news and articles, but they're just generally articles. They're listed if you scroll down just a touch on the front page of our website. And this is various informational text posts about new library services, monthly displays that we have going on, upcoming library holidays, important announcements. So we have our windows, like Jennifer mentioned. We have an update on there. You know, hey, we've got construction going on. I think the update I just put on there was for summer reading program. So you can click through to the article. You can register for Beanstack starting on June 8th when SRC gets started. So it's another way to use articles as well. Some of the other features on our website is policies and procedures, how to get a library card, information on culture passes, public computers, accessibility services. One of those services that Leslie touched on was books by mail, and services for blind and low vision as well. And then there's information on our downloads, our streamable apps, Libby and Hoopla. Ebooks, audiobooks, video streaming are offered on both of those apps. We have our databases that Amelia went over, all of our incredible, I think you said 48 now databases. That's pretty amazing. I say let's visit here, but we already did that, so we can bypass that little detour. And then just extra programs and events. On our website, you can also request materials if you would like us to purchase something, or you can propose a new program, which I think is pretty cool.
And
And I spelled proposal wrong. Ugh, embarrassing.
yes. I'll just jump in real fast. We have a third streaming platform now. We now offer Canopy.
That's right. And I wrote an article about it and everything.
Yeah, that's currently, I think, the one on the main until the 1st. But it's videos, movies, lots of documentaries, British film, things of that nature.
Forum films.
Oh, wow.
We had
Cool.
lots of people requesting that, and we
Is that an
Friendly
app
determined
or
we
some
had-
link on the webpage, or how do you get to
there's-
Canopy?
it is an app, so it's actually owned by Overdrive, which is who does Libby.
Okay,
But it's something you can add to your phone, your computer, your
that's what I was
TV, all of
It pops
those.
up in, it pops up in Libby.
Yeah,
So I've been using that Aspen thing. For books, that's a good app.
Okay, so September is Library Card Sign-Up Month, as designated by the American Library Association in Who We Trust. This year's theme is a library card hits all the right notes. It's musical themed. I'm very excited for it, if you cannot tell. Last year, what we did was we had 35 participating businesses all over Flagstaff, and all you had to do was show them your library card, and they would offer you a discount of some kind. So we had many businesses offering 15 to 20% discounts on all orders. We had some places, I think Dark Sky did like a free beer. Everybody did something different. And when I approached the businesses, it was, what would you like to do? What would you like to offer? Because we really want this to be beneficial collaboratively. We want this to be a community event. And we polled the businesses after. Everybody that responded to the survey said that they would absolutely participate again and that they saw an increase in their business because of the program in September. So that was really wonderful. We were also able to do a postcard raffle drawing after the month was completed. And all you had to do was sign up for your library card, check out a material, and read that material. That's it. You have a chance to win a gift card. It's pretty awesome. Because of this program last year, we had a total of 794 cards in the month of September 2025, and that was a 310 card increase from the September of 2024. So we'll hopefully be repeating, improving on the process. I have some big goals this year for how many card signups I'd like to get. I think, well, you know what, I'll keep the number to myself for now. And then later on, you know, when we hit it, I'll brag about it. How about that?
if you have any businesses that you're like, hey, I'd love if this one participates, let us know and we'll reach out to them.
So you're gonna do it again with the businesses? Okay.
Yes.
And we're starting that next month to
Yep,
reach out
I'm
to
gonna,
people.
as soon as I get all the SRC stuff up for social media and getting that marketing ready to go for our rollout on the 8th. I'm going to start reaching out to our partners from last year first, and then we'll kind of go from there. I think last year we contacted over 200 businesses in the community.
Wow.
Quick question before you move on with that. Does it have to be a physical library card, or could you use the Aspen Lita card?
I'm not familiar with that card, actually.
You could use
The
the card.
Aspen Lita card?
It's the one on the app.
Oh, is it on if you just pull it up on Libby or something like that?
Or on
No, it's on
the library app itself.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you could use that one.
Okay, just curious.
Great question. I'll put that on the map this year that you can also do that. Speaking of library cards, we don't have this out there yet, but we do now have a gigantic library card that will be a part of an ongoing display at the library. It's not out yet because the stand still needs to come in, but we'll be decorating that for events and programs and things such as Library Card Sign Up Month and National Library Week, which we just had in April. National Library Week is also designated by the American Library Association. It's an annual celebration. I believe it is every April, and it highlights the valuable role that libraries and librarians play in transforming lives and strengthening our communities. And this year's theme was Find Your Joy, which I had a ball with. It was lots of fun. We went in kind of decorated, lots of bright colors. We wanted people to walk into the library and feel happy, which most people do already, but just an extra push for that week. With the help of the Friends of the Library, so thank you to them, we were able to do a social media giveaway this year, which was a question of where do you find joy at the library? And so you had to answer the question and then like the post. And so we were able to give out 4 $25 gift cards to our winners because of Friends of the Library this week. We also had a big poster. I need to put it up somewhere on the wall. It's currently on a flat writing surface, but it's where do you find joy at the library? And we gave patrons the opportunity to write in or draw a photo or something like that on a large banner. And then here's just a couple extra things that I do. I work on special projects and campaigns. The campaigns primarily take place on social media, but also you'll see marketing pushes in person as well. One of the most recent campaigns that we just completed was the value of your library. Full name of the campaign is Value for Every Chapter of Life. What you borrow is free and what you gain is priceless. The campaign focused on showcasing the money that you can save when you use the library, in addition to the value of the materials of our collection. And then we also showcase statistics that show the usage of the library by our community. So there's a couple here over to the side. I don't know how big these numbers are on your side. I won't read them off to you, but you can see some of the slides that we used in our marketing for the Value of Your Library campaign. Oh, can you go back? That's okay. The next thing that I've been working on is collection features, so just showing people the extra things that we have in our collection. Amelia talked on this a little bit about we're more than books. One of the most recent features that we did was on accessible services for the blind and those who experience low vision. So we showed and displayed, hey, we have a Braille collection. Here's what's in our Braille collection. Did you know that we have Braille Uno? Because we do, and you can check it out. There's popular books in our Braille collection. We have a reader, a document reader, that you can use when you physically come into our downtown library. We have a bill scanner to read money. So that was a whole different series, I think, of 4 different posts of services for those that are blind or experiencing low vision. And then also what I'm currently doing right now is posting marketing for SRC, which starts on June 8th. It is for all ages. So I sincerely hope that you're all able to join and register on Beanstack, again, starting on June 8th, June 8th, June 8th. And then there's one more thing I forgot to write down, which is also kind of important. On our website, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, which is another great way to learn about what we've got going on weekly for all ages. It has a link to the Kobo stops, youth services, special announcements, closures, things of that nature. So if you go to our website and scroll all the way to the bottom, you'll be able to sign up for that newsletter that we send out via MailChimp every week. And that's all I had for today. Let me know if anyone has any questions. Thank you for having me.
Yes, if you
Thank
go
you.
online.
I have a comment and just, I might as well plug this other organization that I volunteer for. But I read the Arizona Daily Sun for Sun Sounds of Arizona, which is an organization for people who are unable to read print material due to a disability. So if you're doing outreach and you talk to somebody and they're interested, they can get a special rate, but you can also get it on Echo and Echo Dot and Alexa and other places, or through the website. There's also an Sun Sounds of Arizona app, and you can hear a lot more than reading. My husband and I both read the paper one day a week. And so, it's just another resource. It's maybe not through the library, but it is something that when you're talking to a homebound person, maybe they'd like to know about. So it's great.
Hello?
Hi, Judy.
Hello. Hi, how are you guys doing?
Okay.
I just wanted to say thank you all for coming to the board for the proclamation. It was so exciting. And a lot of people were watching and stuff like that from the other areas, and we're being asked, they are being told we didn't know about all those services. And now that you had them put on the board on the screen, for people to see. So there's a lot of good compliments that came through that. So I just want to say thank you for all the hard work that you guys do and new ideas and implementation of ideas. I think, we have to serve everyone. Everybody is very unique to some point. And I just want to say thank you so much. And then I think during that board meeting, I kind of had mentioned something regarding coal mine and Tonalea, which were probably 20 miles out. Tonalea, 20 miles out north, and then 20 miles were Coal Mine Mesa. These are very rural areas, and I know a lot of them don't have transportation. I was telling them about, giving them an update about some of the things that happen within the board meetings, and they had requested to see if a trial run can be done to see the library was come to their areas to see how the turnout would be. But I did tell them that, I will let the board know, library board. So I just want to say thank you, but we, again, I'm glad that we have all these things going. I know Parks and Rec is pretty much doing some work with the tribes like Navajo Nation, as far as Parks and Recs, as far as helping them with trails and things like that. So I know that, more and more, even the Justice Bus is out into the area too. So I'm really thankful for that, because we just want to make sure that, we serve all our county residents, whether we have so many tribes. We have Navajo, Hopi, and the Paiutes right within our area on District 4 and 5. So I just want to bring that up. And again, I just want to say thank you so much for the hard work that you do, all of you. And I thank the board too, for approving things, for the staff to implement and, a budget for and get funding for. So I'm support of the full library board in regards to budgeting, budgets, Well, thank you so much. And that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you, Judy. If
Thank
you or Angie can send me contact information for people at Coal Mine and Tonalea, I can get them connected with Becca, and we can see if that's something that she's able to add or not.
Okay, I will. And then there was one more thing I wanted to mention. It came across my mind, and here I forgot. But anyway, I'll touch base. But I will have contact people, given to you, and then see where it goes from there.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else on that presentation? Thank you both for doing that. That was great. All right, it looks like we have one action item, and that's the review of the new video.
I thought we already approved that one a couple months ago.
It was on the April meeting, but we didn't have the April meeting.
Oh.
Yeah.
So we
I remember looking at
approved,
that before.
we approved the,
I think we
Behavioral
behavioral
policy,
policy,
behavior
the one,
one, yeah.
the big,
Yeah,
I
it's a
remember the
biggie.
big policy, yeah.
So just a highlight of this is a brand new policy, that's why it doesn't have a track change version. We just realized that with the cameras on staff, or in the library, we want the public to be aware that we do have them. And also, so we have a policy to point to say, no, you can't just come to staff and say, someone stole my laptop, give me the footage. I'm sorry, please get a police report, ask them to get a warrant,
Yeah.
that type of thing. Now, of course, someone could come and say, hey, can you please have your staff look and see if you can see who took my laptop and share that with the PD, and then, we can potentially do that if it's in the library's interest. But basically, this just kind of outlines that the cameras are there for security and safety in the library, but we definitely protect the privacy of our patrons as a very, in line with that goal. That's our intention always. And then it lays out when these records might be released and to whom.
And I just want to add, this follows along with state statute because we are required by state statute to keep people's use of the library and the materials, but also how they use the library space private. So by state statute, that's required of us as libraries, and that's very unique that we are, as staff, are required to follow such a legal requirement, but that is the case for all libraries in Arizona. So this aligns with that. It keeps it, we can use it for when it's necessary for library operations or required by law, but we're not going to give it out to just any patron that asks for it, because then we would be violating the state statute.
Okay. Are there any questions about the new policy? If not, then I'll entertain a motion to adopt this new policy.
I'll move to adopt the new policy, Mrs. Shannon.
I'll second it.
We have a second, and let's go ahead and vote on this. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any in the negative? Hearing none, motion passes. That's our new policy.
Thank you.
All right, we are to information items and a request from board members. Anything from anyone?
I have a question, an update on the East Library moving to another.
I have the same question.
Yeah.
Well, we're still looking at a location.
The one on Cortland?
Yeah, we're looking at it and we're trying to look at how can we configure that. We have a very small budget for any changes that we can make. How much of this, right now, we're trying to find out what can we change to better accommodate the space, the cost of such changes. And that's where we are at this point.
We are hoping to get a lease in place for
Yes.
that building at the July 7th. I think it might be the last city council meeting before summer break. But we are trying to
So it's
get
like
that
it's
together.
pretty sure we'll move there, just depending on how much you can
Yeah.
change.
Yeah, I mean, we can go there. I mean, it looks like a good space. Now, how it's going to be configured, that depends on what things cost and what we can do. But it looks like it's going to be a very good space for a temporary location.
Good.
Yeah, it's got spaces that would work for staff. It's got spaces that we could work for youth services and for adult services. So, it's gonna work. I mean,
You think you'll get as much traffic there because it's not on 4th Street?
You know, that's just something that we don't know what it's gonna be like. The traffic, in my opinion, the traffic might be different, but I don't think it's necessarily bad because it could be that some people from that location don't currently use the library as much. So, you know,
Yeah,
we could get a lot of new library users. So, that would continue to use the library if whenever we move back to the
What's-
permanent
What's
location.
the deadline to be out of the current location?
In May that 2027 is when the plan to actually demolish the
Okay, so
building,
it's
and
gotta
nobody
be
wants to be inside
Totally
that.
out, right? Okay. See how some time.
because I have kids that walk over from the schools there to the library.
There are bus lines, of course, you know, who can use the bus, you know, who's, you know, at what age they start using the bus, but there is access to that area through the bus services. And it's very, you know, it's not an easy thing to find a building that could suit a library. You know,
Yeah,
it has the open space, the heating, you know, they can withstand the weight of all the,
Oh, yeah.
the shelving, yeah, it's just, it's not easy to find that kind of location, so, we're pretty fortunate that this is available.
cool.
All right. Anything else?
I just wanted to say thank you to the presenters, because I really appreciated the information. So thank you.
There's so much work that goes behind the scenes, our staff does an incredible amount of work to bring these resources to the public, and they're constantly considering the needs of the community and how they can better serve the really unsung heroes, right? They really do their best.
Anything else? Okay, we have, for our next agenda meeting, the director's report and, police aid program and incidents. And that meeting will be on June 25th. All right, given that, I'd like to go ahead and adjourn this meeting. It is 1:57. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate you all being here.
Thank you.
Yep, see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
That was an action-packed meeting, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of good information.